workshop that we started this morning. It is now 1 o'clock. We're going to resume our presentations and we'll start out with Rogers Tax.
Yeah, so our first applicant was Pat, but I don't see Meiji here. So do you want to move on to the Domestic Abuse Center? We do have the representative here.
Sure, let me get to it.
You could just sit right there.
That's enough.
All right. So yeah, they're at the back of your, yeah. And then this one will be Domestic Abuse Center.
Hi, Mark, how are you?
Good afternoon, how are you?
Great, welcome.
So Rogers Tax in our book start where the orange pages are.
Yeah, it's the last one,
So,
Domestic Abuse Center. Right here.
There's three.
Yes. You glance up. Okay. Good, and introduce yourself. You may start.
My name's Amanda Bailey. I work for Domestic Abuse Intervention Center. I'm the group facilitator for the Veterans Intervention Program. I'm also representing Home-Cook today.
And you can just go over your application and what you're requesting.
So we're a nonprofit and we're asking for 3 would be used for our audit, our phones and internet service, along with our building insurance and our members dues for the coalition.
Funding sources do you have?
We get grant funding from CYFD and from the I can never say it right, the Crimes Victim Reparation Commission, SRC, VRC funding. I mean, our VOCA funding. And we also get donations from the traffic tickets from Sierra County through the magistrate court, and we also have jars at 2 gas stations here in town.
Can you tell us just a little bit about your mission?
It is our mission to serve the community of Sierra County for domestic violence incidents. We help with orders of protection. We also help with travels if they need to go to a shelter out of town. We also do emergency shelter. It's a 3-day stint in a local motel. We also help with orders of protection. We also do the batterers program for the offenders that are either court ordered or through order protection, or if they're self-referred to come in and do the program with me.
Okay. Any questions?
Can I ask how much you get from VOCA each year? You know?
I don't know. I don't.
Just curious.
and how many cases you have per year? About
For the victims, a year. It's more than 50 a year.
Your comments, questions? We won't be making any decisions today. We're just taking notes and we'll make a recommendation when it comes to a regular meeting. But I appreciate you coming in and telling us what you do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you for doing what you do for our community.
months per year.
Okay, our next applicant is the Geronimo Springs Museum and the Historical Society. I believe, are you here for that, Don?
Yeah, Well, Mayor, Commissioners,
I'll give us a second to find out where you're at.
okay,
So, you those on us, right?
because, Sandy Whitehead is our new secretary, and so she put everything together. And so, we were supposed to meet and get everything, but she had on her plans to, we were supposed to be here between 1:20 and 1:30. So good thing I came a little bit early, so
There you go.
I don't have anything in front of me, so
You bring bills or
almost,
Toronto.
almost crazy.
it's almost ready, so I got one more to go.
The Historical Society.
Yeah, we pretty good with that.
It's the sixth one.
I've been around long enough that they figured they put me on the schedule. Sorry, they put me there.
Schedule, sorry.
It's fine, perfectly fine.
Sierra County Historical Society. Sorry about that.
There we go. No Sunday like that.
And we thank you guys for, everything that you've helped with and done so far. It's greatly appreciated. Have anybody been by and had a chance to look at the mural that they just finished?
Yeah.
Yes.
And now she's assuming I can read.
Well, in a nutshell, Don, you guys are asking for $10,000 from our subrecipient applications. And it says to cover the cost of utilities. And that you see a visitation numbers in excess of 5,000 a year. They don't have an audit. Last year, we funded them for 6,500. And they expect that their utility costs will increase by their up.
Yes, and I'm sure you're all, received the notice that utilities were going up here at the beginning of the year, so. Or not, I guess the beginning of the fiscal year, I gotta go back and think about that. Used to go into a calendar year from being on a fiscal year, so. Here comes my partner in crime.
You're not late. We're just ahead of schedule, so you're fine.
Oh, better late than never, right?
Here to bill you out.
All right.
Sandy, you're up. You're welcome to sit up there with Don.
So she can jab me and say, what are you
Oh, I
talking
can
about?
jab you?
Yeah,
Would I jab you?
possibly.
Okay. Hi, guys. Sorry I'm late.
You're not. We're- So we kind of went over, that you guys increased your request to 10,000 this year due to the increase of utilities.
Yes, I did that. Also, since I've been on board, you know, we've had our telephone and our internet is kind of high. And so I would just kind of like to see if we could get assistance with that as well. I did get the notices where our utilities would be going up. So again, we are a nonprofit. We are in an old building. We try to keep maintaining that building. We've had a lot of issues in the last couple of months with our sewer. And so we've had to have different repairs. And again, you know, we do know that it's an old building and we just kind of try to keep it up and running and going. So that's why I have asked for an increase of $10,000. I do know that in years past, last year, we did get $6,500, which included our utilities, not only the electric and gas and trash, but also, yes, the natural gas. And we did have $2,000 that was given to us for marketing and advertising. So again, that's not a lot of money, but we've done with it what we could and would like more.
So I have a question on the balance sheet that you guys provided. It says that in your total checking and savings, you have $176,000. And that your equity, liabilities equity is at $521,000. Is that like money that you're not able to access, or how does that work?
A lot of it is, a lot of it we have in CDs and can only be used for certain things like for maintenance and building and stuff like that. So basically our day-to-day operation is from our money that comes in from our visitors, the gift shop. You know, we do well in our gift shop, but again, we do pay a consignee. We have a lot of people that consign with us, a lot of great stuff for Sierra County Truth or Consequences. So yes, we show a lot, but it can only be used for certain items. So
Okay, I just was curious.
Dawn?
No, are you you got everything right there? I mean, a lot of it's in the, I wanna say trust fund, but.
Well, and it's in the foundation
In the
fund. It
foundation
can
money,
only
so-
be used for certain items, so. basic-
Yeah.
As long as retired.
I think that's gonna.
No, that isn't gonna help at this time, right?
What are your hours of operation generally?
Hours of operation are Monday through Saturday from 10 to 4, and then Sunday from noon to 4.
That's all volunteer.
No, I do pay staff. I do have a couple of people that do come in and I do pay them. So again, our money goes to pay staff as well. You know, I'm there. A lot of times, I donate my time, but sometimes I don't donate my time. So yeah, we're operable. We're still running and we're servicing the public as needed. I'm real amazed at the people that come in, where they come from, what they buy, what they don't buy. They come back. We just had Thursday of last week, we had a school group of kids that came from the Mesilla Valley Christian School in Las Cruces. Wonderful, wonderful kids. It was nice that they came in and saw our museum, saw our town, and the parents said, we would love to come back. So that's what we like to hear. We'd love to come back. You have a great asset in the museum, and it's there for everybody.
They've worked real hard on the getting stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
And getting the website up, so you'll be able to go to Facebook, and you'll have to tell them what the because it's a big long.
We had to create a new Facebook page because the old Facebook page was not accessible. You know, of course, Marilyn, who was the executive director at the time, she, for many years, you know, she passed away in 2022, and everything went with her and nobody could find any information. So, as you have all seen, we recently had the mural on the wall painted, which is absolutely amazing and gets lots of compliments. And we had to get our Facebook page up and running. So I went and created a new one. So now our new Facebook page, and I'd like for everybody to follow us, is SCHS, Sierra County Historical Society, the initials, Geronimo Springs Museum. So yes, it is long. We're trying to incorporate it. We're still trying to work on figuring out how to delete our old Facebook page, combine our two Facebook pages, whatever we're doing. We're working hard at that, and also Instagram. So we will get that up and running, and you know, a lot of good things happening at the museum.
Sure.
As a side note, last year Brenda and Mary Jo had reached out to me to try to recover your guys' Facebook page, and there was no way we could.
Well, I have had so many people. I've even gone out on ChatGPT and I've gone out on the internet and trying to figure out. I've got other people helping me, and there's just no way. We just can't do it. It's just not.
I agree.
So yeah. But those are my stories, and I'm sticking to them.
done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
SCHF
Just followed.
Thank you,
Follow.
thank you. Tell all your friends and everybody to follow us.
Questions, comments? Yeah, we're not making any decisions today, but thank you so much. It's about you.
It's not nice. All right, thank you, guys.
It's up to me, I told you all the way.
Thank you,
It's
thank you.
not up to me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And so next, we have the John Hill Scenic Byway, and Tina Kelly.
What number is that?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hi, Jess.
How are you?
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Sure.
Please tell us about the Runway Trail National Scenic Byway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Ms. Mayor Pro Tem and city commissioners and staff and all of these wonderful folks. Okay, first I want to say thank you. You've been super supportive. It's been a rough few years especially. I can't thank you enough for standing by us during having to move and trying to find money. So hopefully we can move back. So we are working on that as we speak.
Yep.
This fiscal year to date, we've had about 3,000 people that we've interacted with that are looking for visitor information. They're either walking in our door, calling us, or emailing us. By the end of the year, I figure it'll be about 5,000. We've shipped out several thousand brochures to visitor centers around the state and El Paso, and also have distributed a lot locally. The businesses all come to me now and just get what they need, which is really nice. Also, the visitor centers around the state, they actually will let me know exactly what they need. I'm not just shipping stuff out willy-nilly, assuming that they need an entire box of this or that. So it's really great. I have them all really well trained. By the end of the year, it'll probably be about 10,000 brochures we've sent out, which is pretty good. We're just about to get the reprinted Sierra County travel guide, and so remaining boxes that I have to go out to the rest of the visitor centers to get them stocked up for the summer, because that's when they're busy. Our walk-in numbers are still lower than they were at Liebel, but we have discovered that the quality has increased over quantity. And by that, I mean people are coming and spending a lot of time with us. We've been getting at least 1 or 2 people a week that are looking to relocate here. Those people are typically with us for about an hour. Then they are the city and the schools and the hospitals and the taxes and the crime rate and everything. I mean, we've seen so many of those, and they tend to be in their fish, I'd say, and they're from all over the country just looking for a better quality of life, a cheaper place to live. It's been really fun. The other thing we've seen a lot of this year is the snowbirds that we get every single year, because they come every single year from Minnesota, Michigan, and Indiana, and Wisconsin, especially Wisconsin. We've kind of got them trained too, where they come in to find out what's new. Like, what are the events happening now? Now they know to be here for the Rock and Gem show in March. You know, they know to stay until May for Fiesta. So it's a lot of fun getting those repeat people. And of course, as you all know, our job is to send people out into our local businesses, all of our destinations, our attractions. So I think we're a pretty good return on investment. You know, just by virtue of all the people we send out every single day. Our operational expenses are within our budget. Anything that is not operational, that maybe I want to spend a little extra here or there on something, like flags. All expenses are covered by donations, and I'm not just going to repeat everything that's in here. Do you have any questions on that?
You get donations, gift jar inside.
Jar, and it's businesses that just give us money, you know, Bolex, but mostly it's a tip jar. And sometimes people will drop a 20 in there, you just never know. The Spaceport Visitor Center, the people that were coming for that, that come for the tours, they're really good tippers and they like to buy things too. So we really like them. And they come from all over the world.
Questions? Comments?
That's a good work.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you for everything.
Put on that Main Street now.
Next one.
Next one is Main Street, and I'm doing that one too. Right? Yeah, Linda and Becca are both out, so and forgive me if I don't have things off the top of my head, because I'm just the board secretary that tries to keep everybody in line in charge of the number stuff. Ready for me?
Ma'am.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for your continued support of Main Street TRC. We think we're a high-performing organization. We add significant value to the city, its businesses, residents, and visitors. That's what Linda asked me to be sure and say. I think we've proven a good ROI because the amount of grants we bring into the city, and we're always looking for new ones. We've got the Foch Street Improvement Project that is in process. We've secured a lot of grants working with our business owners for training. Training and facade improvements. I'm sorry, that is. We're really excited. We've got the Levitt Amp concert series starting in September, 7 weeks. We're looking at, that's going to be about $100,000 grant over 3 years. That's being invested in our community. And that is truly how Levitt, the Family Foundation, that's what they say, is we consider this an investment in your community to bring music to you and provide an opportunity for the community to get together and have fun. That's the principal reason for the concerts. It's, yes, we want to put heads in beds, and we'll be doing that as well, I'm sure, but mostly it's an opportunity for the community to come out and be together. We're working on grants right now for implementing the wayfinding project and for social media marketing training for our business. Organize and oversee events like Fiesta, Old Fashioned Christmas, Small Business Saturday, Secretary Airhawk, Dancing in the Streetlight concerts, and Trick or Treat downtown. We're always busy with something. And our Redefine Truth or Consequences marketing campaign kicked off last year with billboards in El Paso, Las Cruces, and Albuquerque. We ran them last year. We've just finished editing 15 and 30-second spots that were digital and broadcast media marketing. So they're really cute. I think you'll enjoy them. That's kind of a rundown of what we've got going on right now. And I've got this big application Rebecca did, and she did a really good job. So hopefully if any questions, I'll be able to answer all of those.
Comments? So last year, you had 50,000 for facilities, 15,000 in marketing for 65. This year, you're asking for 65. Are you asking for 65 plus? Are we gonna go for another 15,000 later on, or are we just 65 to cover everything?
Some recipient grant contracts. I think, I'm not sure if that's gonna happen again this year. I think what Becca has indicated here is Fiesta will specifically request funding for lodger's tax next year. 5,000 is to hire the coordinator. So 60,000, it does not include that extra money for marketing. One thing I'm gonna say for both of these organizations is the same thing that Sandy said. The phone bills have gone up a lot. And we're really seeing that. That's a big impact for all of the organizations, I think. Also, insurance has gone up a lot. So you'll see that those numbers are higher. I mean, last year I thought it was gonna be 700, it was 900 this year. So who knows what will be next year, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's impacting all of our organizations. So not just Main Street or Geronimo Trail and so on. So those are expenses that I don't think any of us saw being increased as much as they were.
Any major grants you're gonna be applying for this year? What you
We're
mentioned?
doing the T-Mobile one right now for the wayfinding implementation, and that's 50,000. They've been very supportive before, so we've knocking on wood with that one. Right now, we're working on a New Mexico Resiliency Alliance grant for about 5,000, and that's for social media marketing training for our businesses. So as we find out about them, we apply for them.
Okay, great.
Becca really has her finger on the pulse of that.
Well, I've seen a tremendous change in Main Street in the last 3 years. Seen a lot of new things happening, a lot more activity.
It's very exciting.
You know, I think it has to do with good staff and good people. I think it has a lot to do with it. So really appreciate your efforts. Okay,
That it?
thank you for your presentation.
Good day.
Everything okay?
Everything is great. No, just, yeah, everything's really fine. We just couldn't find a sewer line, but we're on it. We got it.
So our next one, if you guys want to go back, we'll go back to Maisie's, the companion animal action team.
I was there again, my allergies got, and then put them off for Monday, just I wasn't there. Anyway.
Mike's
That's
there.
ruined my life. Hold on.
At least there wasn't any coffee in it.
Have to figure out something better.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, you don't,
I didn't. Oh,
you don't have to move it. It'll pick you up from right there. Yeah, you're good.
AJ, you're always good at making an entrance.
Yeah, we're the companion animal action team. We don't ask for a lot. I actually have my third quarter report here. What we use the city grant for is to cover the vaccinations for cats and dogs that we spay and neuter. Now, a year ago, in March of 2025, Amy Starr left. We did 4 clinics between January and March, and she left. And so we got a contract with Dr. Allred, and he gives us rescue rates. And we give people vouchers. They come in, fill out our paperwork. Our fees are exactly the same. $30 for a male cat, we pay for the shots. $40 for a female cat, we pay for her vaccinations, which is basically the rabies and the feline respiratory virus. For dogs, the charge is $50 for a male dog, no matter what size, and $60 for a female, and we pay. We also pay for the cold and pain medicine for dogs. That's a bargain. Somebody told me they were being charged $400 to spay their large dog down in Las Cruces, and I don't doubt that. And I'll just give you an example of our last quarter. We did, okay. Third quarter, we provided vouchers for 13 male cats, 18 female cats. Multiply 18 times 4 and think how many that kittens you're keeping off the street. 4 male dogs and 3 very large female dogs. And the bill for us was over 120 for the large females because he does charge by weight on those animals. So we hope that we'll hit at least 150 animals this year. We're pretty close to that. And we are going to continue to do the same thing next year. Unfortunately, I had a neighbor that moved in that brought about 10 unspayed female cats and did not want to sign up. So they stopped feeding them, and many of them are now at our building. They're spayed, they're neutered. They're lovely animals. If you know anybody that wants a kitty cat, they're up for adoption, and we're going to post some of them on our website. I'm open for questions.
Okay, thank you. Comments, questions? So do you have any any interaction with, we've been really successful with our animal shelter in getting grants, whether it's Jordan's Way or other. grants
Okay,
that
I
we've
did a
gotten?
grant from Carol Petrie.
Okay.
Jordan's Way comes in, and if you've ever been there for that, it's very noisy. You can't, the building that I have, you couldn't do anything like that in.
Right.
The cats would freak. But we get a grant, we have gotten a grant, and I applied again for the Carol Petrie grant, and unfortunately, those grants were due on the same day, which was a little confusing because Carol Petrie is for $20,000. So that one, we had applied for the state grant the first time it came out, and that was when, and we actually got money, but then they took it back. Because they had not gone through the proper financial work with DFA on the state level. So it took them another year to get their work straightened out with DFA, and that grant this year went to the shelter. We have gotten funded by the Bonner Foundation in the past, and we may apply again. But so far, we've kept our heads above water, and we pretty well spend about 20,000 every year, 20 to 21 or 22,000.
No, you guys do a good job. I'm just wondering if the success we've had on our end helps you on your end.
Well, in terms of puppies and kittens, yeah, I mean, the crucial area in this community, because we see dumped puppies down on Palomas Creek. I get calls about dumped cat litters. Hopefully, if people realize, and we've done free too, we did about 10 free spay neuters for a lady that's paraplegic and had a bunch of cats. I think we have one more to do for her. But we do free for very low income people, because the goal is we don't want more puppies, more kittens. This community just can't deal with what we have. I don't know how we encourage people, though, to get their dogs spayed or cats.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer to that either. You would think enforcement would help, but then how do you find them? And then if you can't find them, they dump them, right?
Right, and the 2 young women that were picked up recently, I had a long experience with them. We still have hoarding cases in this county, and I don't know how you deal with the hoarding cases, because they're usually under the radar.
Comments, questions?
Thank you.
Great
Right.
job, Mindy.
I'm gonna run away and go get my allergy shots.
Thank you.
They said they'd wait for me.
Don't run.
No,
I could say, I see one cast on your leg already.
was taking, I try to keep the female kittens that I spay at my house that came from my neighbors in my bathroom overnight. Well, she escaped, and I picked her up to take her back, and I didn't turn the lights on. And the cat was okay. It was not.
So next would be Matthew 25.
But thank you, because we appreciate everything. Can I give you my report?
Yeah.
That's it. That's our third quarter report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you, Major.
We appreciate everything you guys do for the community.
Second, I'm slow.
That's okay. I'm also waiting on my director. He says he's on his way. So.
That's my 85. There. So do you want us to wait for your?
Oh, no,
Ready to
go ahead. Yeah, if you're ready, I'm ready.
All right, I think so. We can go.
Well, my name is Laura Plume. I am the secretary, treasurer, grant coordinator, and whatever else they want me to do for Matthew 25 Food Pantry. I want to thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, commissioners, and staff. We have always been grateful for everything that Matthew 25 gets from the city. Matthew 25's mission is to feed Sierra County as a whole, not just Truth or Consequences, not just Elephant View, not just, we are a countywide food pantry. We do nothing but food. We don't do clothing. We don't do anything else. Last year, we received $10,000. Very big surprise. We only asked for $9,400. This year, I am asking for $10,450. It is exactly half of our fixed cost. Our fixed cost is $20,900. That is rent, utilities, and our property general liability insurance. Those are our fixed costs. Our food, our office supplies, anything else that we need are not a part of those fixed costs. So really what we're asking for is for this grant to pay for half of our fixed costs. Most of that, which is utilities. Now, I'm following many other people who sit up here and say, you know, everything is increasing. And it is, everything is increasing, but we're only asking dollars from last year to this year. So we're not expecting a huge amount of an increase. We've done some maintenance in the building. We also rent a very old building. It used to be the old gas company, I believe. I think it's a gas building. That building needed some major work with electrical. It's had some HVAC. So we have taken that out of our reserves, and we usually use our reserves for building maintenance or our appliances. Our appliances are huge. We have 72 cubic foot refrigerator freezers. We have 8. We store tons and tons of food. Without that building and without those refrigerators, we would not be able to feed this county. So the $10,450 really keeps us in the building and keeps those refrigerators running so that we can feed people. We get about 10,000 people through per year. So when we break it down and we really look at $10,450, that's only $1 per person. But we're not using it for food because we get food from Roadrunner Food Bank. And the food that we do buy, we buy as supplemental foods so that we can bring in additional nutrition to the community. Oftentimes it's meat. Meat is hard to come by in food. We don't get a lot of meat from Roadrunner. So a lot of times we'll look at Bullocks and we'll find out what their meat specials are, and we'll go in and we'll buy food. But where we get that money from is through donations or through other grants. Somewhat Bullocks cash for clubs, and then fundraisers like the TRC Brewery oftentimes does fundraisers, and we can benefit. That's where our money comes from. It's about a 50-50 split. Your $10,450 is half of our fixed costs. The other $10,450 comes through other grants and or donations. And I'm sorry my director is not here. He's never been here, so he wanted to be here. I'm sorry.
Is that Ernie?
No, it's John. Ernie couldn't be here today. Ernie's our president.
Comments? We at one time talked a little bit last year about figuring out what your utility bill was going to be and figuring out a way maybe to fund some of that versus paying the money.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter to you, right? As long as the money's there.
As long as the money is there.
That might be, Gary.
Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, no, we did not look into the
Yeah,
utility
we
side.
funded them. I know that.
Yeah.
I think it was Amanda at the time suggested that we look at the utility bill. And the benefit is that if we gave you $10,400 worth of utilities, it would cost us less to do that.
We can look at it before we bring it back for final adoption.
Yeah. And maybe we could even do a little bit more if whatever we're saving on that part of it, we could look at that.
Our budget estimates 11,000 this year. I think we're coming in right. Last year was $10,251. This year we're expecting about 11,000. We believe in utilities. We'll budget that at 11,000. So
okay, might be worth looking at down the road.
now, at one time we did, Mayor, look at a building that the city was going to offer up, and that was going to be, you would pick up the utilities on that because it was a city building. We right now have a 3-year lease.
That's right. I remember.
Yes, we have a 3-year lease. We are not expected to be out of that building until 2029. So for the future in our thoughts about growth and where we go from the city perspective, we would love to entertain what you can help us with in the facility. It does have to be inspected by Roadrunner prior to us moving into a building, so we would need to do something well in advance before 2029.
Well, you provide tremendous service for us, so I
Thank you.
really appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
I just may want to offer a possibility for you guys for some additional funding. I'm not certain if you guys have looked into the New Mexico Grown, but I do know that those grants may still be open. And because you guys are working food banks, there is funding available there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any comments?
Thank
Thank you, ma'am. Did a nice job.
Everything you do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next scheduled applicant is SJOA, Crystal Walton.
You guys a little packet. And it goes over what we do, our funding sources. Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, City staff. My name is Crystal Walton. I'm the Executive Director at the Sierra Joint Office on Aging, but everybody knows this is the local senior center. I definitely wanted to visit with you all today. My request is basically asking for double of what we were funded this last year. And I can give you a little bit of insight as to why I'm asking what I'm asking. So we are in an RFP year, which means that we've been able to submit out for the funding that we need. But let me explain to everybody on the year that we are in. The SJOA knew coming into this year that our funding was definitely going to come short of the expenses. And we are indeed in that scenario this fiscal year. We've ran 4 departments short-staffed in order to offset those expenses that were going to take us over budget. It has been impactful for that. However, we are still looking at being over budget by the end of this year. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there for all of you all who've tried necessarily an easy bring transportation or meal delivery in order to try to save that budget as much as possible. So that being said, we're looking at asking for about, hold on, I got the exact number. We're asking for a 23% increase from our funding sources in this upcoming fiscal year. And this would allow, if we are funded and budgeted and everything's where it needs to be, this will allow us to be properly staffed in order to provide the services that we're providing. That will allow for us to do a little bit of expansion. We are noticing the trends of expansion already over the past couple of years. We're already growing in the services that we're providing. And I think that that's probably primarily because the cost of living and groceries and goods and things of such have been quite expensive. Anybody who's went grocery shopping knows that that's the case. Well, the majority of our senior citizens are living on a fixed income. And so they're utilizing our services so that they don't have to provide, groceries for their home. I would encourage any one of you that if you ever would like to see the people that we serve and to understand the scenarios that these people are living in and why this is very important, I would encourage any one of you to ride along with one of my meal drivers on any given day of the week. So the conditions that a lot of these seniors are living in is very pitiful. And I think that it's really important that we're there to help them. So, anyways, sorry. We're currently operating all programs, all funding, all sources of funding this year. We're sitting at 1.3. We're probably going to be more like expense wise around 1.4. In our upcoming request, we're looking at 1.7, and that does not include volunteer programs, which is another $100,000 annually. We're experiencing, like has been said before, our insurance is going to be increasing across the board. With the SGOA, the way that it is, we have to hold many different types of insurances. So we have vehicle insurances, general liability, you know, you name it. We have a ton of insurance coverage that we have to provide with the amount of things that we cover and the amount of things that we do. We're sending people inside people's homes. We have to have coverage for that. So that's another expense that we weren't necessarily looking forward to having that big of an increase. With that being said, I can kind of give you numbers where we're at right now. So in units of service, and we've discussed this a little bit last year. So units of service for the past 3 quarters was 72,112. Out of those 72,112, 52,894 went to Tier C. So yes, we do serve Williamsburg, Elephant View, and Array. But the majority of the people and the constituents that we're providing services for are the consequences residents. So with that, I guess I'll stand for questions from you.
Questions? How many meals per day do you, when you take the route?
Home delivered routes are about 130 to 150, depending on if it's an Array day. Because we only go down there 3 days a week to save fuel and cost.
Right.
So
It's just 1 meal a day though.
Depending upon the qualifications for the individual, they may receive a secondary meal that they call to receive those additional. So frozen meals that cover for your weekend meals because we're not open on the weekend. And so I can tell you that's another thing I'll hit on you with real quick. We've been short meal drivers left and right. We've had some come and stay long. We're running into a lot of people not being able to pass a background check. And it's very important to be able to have somebody that you can trust when in these people's homes. But so I've ran the route quite a bit lately. And you have a 2-hour window from the time the food is made, you're loaded and deliver it out. Well, whenever you're delivering out anywhere from 45 to 50 homes in a 2-hour window, that leaves you less than 2 minutes per driving, delivery, drop off, on to the next. So just kind of giving perspective on what that job is like. So,
Do you have funding in your budget to hire drivers? You just haven't been able to find any drivers?
no, we've been running short staff purposefully because we're over budget already. So I do it. I'm HR, I'm the grant writer, and I'm the fill-in and the director for anybody. So
I was gonna volunteer to go and deliver for you 1 day a week, but I don't have time.
any other questions, guys?
Comments? Thank you for what you do.
Okay, our applicant is the Veronica from the club.
You guys have one side of it only, but the back side you don't. I'm not sure which side is which. And Chair's gonna be here today due to child illness, which hopefully the twins get better soon. She wanted me to make a brief statement. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. The funding we received directly supports youth safety, wellness, and engagement here in Perry County. These dollars are allowed to provide baby meals, snacks, And so no youth is hungry while participating in our program. They also help us offer free transportation, which is essential. Many families don't have reliable access to after-school opportunities. Our funding also makes it possible to host special events that keep youth safe and connected, such as our New Year's lock-in, where teens have a supervised, substance-free place to celebrate, which is fun. It supports our outreach activities like our basketball tournament with local law enforcement, which builds positive relationships and strengthens community. If we receive funding for this cycle, we will continue supporting all of these critical services while also expanding outdoor and hands-on learning opportunities. This includes more nature-based activities, project-based learning and experiences that youth build confidence, teamwork, and real-world skills. Are going to implement year-round for any breaks that they do have, like spring break, Christmas break, winter break, all those. She's planning on field trips for the kids so they can explore and go different places, stuff like that. She also is trying to implement a new pickup route for like the Fridays and Saturdays that we are open, that the school isn't running. So that way we can have certain spots kids can be and dropped off so that they go and hang out with them. Any questions?
What's your typical enrollment per week?
We usually get up to 30 kids a day, depending on sports. Because a lot of the kids are out for basketball, baseball, softball. We all have training or.
That's during the school year.
Mhm.
And then what about the summer months?
Oh, summer we get crazy because all graduating fifth graders that are going to sixth are allowed to come in. So we'll have an abundance of more kids in the summer.
In your hours of operation or?
We are Monday through Thursday, well, Monday through Saturday. Monday through Thursday though, for school, we're open 3 to 7. And then Fridays, we're open 11 to 7 and same with Saturdays.
How big is your staff?
Oh, there's 4 of us. So it gets kind of crazy. With Lucas, I'm sure you guys know Lucas Lee, he's the coach. So he's gone most days with the boys or the girls with their baseball, basketball. So then there's only 3 of us.
Any questions? You're good. Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, you guys have a great day.
I think that's all of it.
Yep, that was all of our applicants, so we're still ahead of schedule. We have our police department, I believe, is our next one.
You can see the immense community need out there, especially in the area where we're feeding folks. I think that's an absolute for our community. If they don't feed them, somebody's gonna have to feed them. And, we'll have to figure some of that stuff out. Maybe we can have a discussion on what our strategy is. I don't know if we can look at what we funded last year and see if we can expand upon that a little bit if the budget allows. I'm not sure if we're in a position where we can fund everybody, everything they ask, but certainly feel like we want to try to do that, but who knows? We'll have to look at that. So what do you suggest our strategy should be, or how do you want to approach this?
Well, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, in the budget, just preliminarily, we put back last year, the commission was pretty set on funding $50,000 for the, remember, you just had presentations from some that'll be what we would call a true sub-recipient that's going to come from general fund dollars. We're going to take money out of the general fund and fund those. Last year, your mission, your focus was food delivery, where we made a direct impact on a community member, and we did 50. And then some of those are going to come out of the lodger's tax, which again, when we get to that, you'll see I've budgeted for some of those expenditures, which are reoccurring from lodger's tax delivery. So on the sub-recipient, 50 is what we've put in there. Certainly we'll take a look at these requests and see where we can, potentially increase some of that.
We have 150,000 plus requests.
Well, if you take the Main Street out of that, that'll come out of lodger's
That's true.
tax.
Yeah.
It's 91,000.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so, potentially we could look at increasing. Again, I told you when we get to your budget, I've put about 200 in the building side. So if we needed to adjust that a little bit, we could take some stuff from there. I mean, we would attempt to find some extra dollars. Just again, as I said at the start, the revenues from last year to this year are pretty flat, right? We're projecting a little increase because of the projects coming online, right? We'll be doing potentially 3 water projects for sure next year, which will have gross receipt tax. We have the Loves opening. We hope that'll have a small impact on our revenues, but.
Okay, let's move on to police department.
We can start on the general fund on page 27.
I'm so tired.
How are you?
Good, Mayor. How are you doing?
Great, sir. Guess we can start. We're on page 27. That means anything to you. We have to
Didn't know how you wanted to go about it, if you just wanted to go down each line item or.
Yeah, I think we'll give us some highlights of what you accomplished last year, what you want to try to do this year, and then maybe go through any big changes, anything that's going to cost us more or anything that you saved. I think would be appropriate to discuss.
As you're aware, Mayor, Pro Tem Commission, police department's really a reactive organization. We're responding to calls for service, crime throughout the community. Some areas that we have done well is with community outreach. We have continued the Shop with the Cop program, which we've been successful. We serve kids in our community throughout Sierra County. We've sent an officer to their school so that we can implement that program within our district. We continue to, as requested throughout the community, attend certain functions. For example, they request for us to be part of the opening of Ace hardware store whenever that happens. We have constant Fiesta presence there. And so we are in the community through there. When it comes to traffic enforcement and traffic complaints, we are applicants and recipients of state grants to isolate and focus on traffic complaints, traffic safety through STEP, NDWI, and Buckle Up. And so we do utilize that. We get officers on the streets in addition to the officers that are out on patrol. We implemented this year a new policies manual with in combination with the municipal league, and so that by going to this new policies and procedures, we're able to save in our self-insurance fund 20%, and so there's a savings on that. And so what I'd like to do in the future, and you'll see it on the you'll see it more on the GRT side. What I want to do is I want to purchase 2 mobile trailers, speed trailers that are basically mobile signage trailers. And we can utilize these for Fiesta or any other event. If we have any kind of other blockage, you can basically put whatever you need on there. Those trailers are constantly gathering data as far as traffic density, speeding. That way we can set it up in areas that are having high traffic complaints, such as Riverside or other areas. And so it'll collect this data and give us a time frame of when these speeders are going through there. And then we can do more directed patrols and try to be more efficient that way, instead of just having an officer out there just at random times, not knowing if we'll hit or miss and address those complaints that we're receiving. We're finally able to implement the report management system that was approved back in 2023 by that commission. We finally got to a place where our network is stable enough to have that, and so we are in the process of launching that.
LEPF, again, is that whole budget is contingent upon us meeting state requirements when it comes to training. And so we've continuously met those requirements that the state puts forth, and look to continue to do that as well. We've constantly training our officers and trying to get them as proficient as possible. And so that's a benefit for the city in all aspects of public safety. So I believe our budget for overtime wages, we had separated it this budget year finally to where it reflects the grant overtime is not taken out of the general fund overtime. And so there should be a savings on that this year because of the demand and just the nature of the job, the public safety. We did go over what was allocated for the budget originally, which was 70,000. We were able to save some money because we were on a third part of a grant where we were reimbursed for salaries, 56,000. So we were able to wash that out and apply that to fix that negative. And so that's where we're at with the overtime. So the overtime's going to stay at 70,000 for this. We're requesting that it stay at 70,000, along with the standby wages. Workers' comp and all that is going to be consistent with what finance department worked with. Per diem, we are adding a per diem line item to the training. Now the city saves money in the 107 budget. That training is for my admin. That way they're up to date with any kind of IPRA or record retention training. And so that's really focused on them or evidence. The LEPF funds goes to the officers. And so the training goes there. And so we added that line item to cover the per diem in the event they're going to any kind of conference or anything like that. I believe the training stayed the same on the 107 budget. The fuel, I know the fuel prices have kind of spiked this go around. We're not asking for an increase for this next go around. We're keeping it at the 80,000. It seems like we may, that may get us to, it'll be close. It'll get us to the end of the year, hopefully. So we're not asking for any increase on that. Subscriptions and dues, I believe they're consistent with what they were last year. Part of the Chief of Police Associations, just consistent with some of my contractual agreements. We also have the evidence tech that is part of the evidence coalition in New Mexico. That way she gets up-to-date training and we could utilize them, especially when we go to move to the new building. We'll reach out to them and they're going to assist us with getting that evidence legally and safely, securely moved to the other location. I believe software went up some. So the software line item, I hadn't been aware that each department is charged for the Tyler services that the city uses for payroll. And so I didn't budget for that. And so this budget just reflects that in addition to TAC 10, which is the RMS system, that report management system that we're moving away from. The system just extremely outdated. I was really disappointed coming when I first took over that we were utilizing that system. Just there's some security measures that probably weren't met, but once we get away from there, it'll cover the transition away from that system and the transfer of the data to the new report management. And then it pays the new report management system. Office supplies is pretty consistent. One area that we saved, was vehicle maintenance. We dropped that from 10,000 to 5,000, saving 50%. What we had that line item with was originally was for any kind of, vehicle maintenance that was outside the scope of what the service center would do. So if there was any kind of safety equipment, say, we had a light bar on a unit that went out that wasn't covered by, a warranty, we would help pay out of that with these funds. And so we've been lucky enough that the light bars or the safety equipment or whatever has been, operating pretty well. So we haven't needed to utilize that as often as I thought we might have. Professional services, it's pretty consistent with last year. We've utilized that in the past to bring transparency and outside agencies or organizations in under contract to conduct any kind of internal affairs investigations or whatever for command level officers or supervisors. It's been pretty decent practice and it gives a fair and impartial investigation into whatever the complaint may be of misconduct. SCRTA, as of today, these are the numbers. We do have a SCRTA board meeting tomorrow, and I believe we may be covering budget, and so that SCRTA may go up some. SCRTA is the dispatch center. They dispatch emergency services for the city. They used to do utilities as well, but I believe that since we've gone to the Doppler system, that's been changed some. This amount is contingent upon the amount of calls that we field in the city, and so that's how they base that off of. Apply some GRTs that they get to that to help offset some of the costs. So if the GRTs are a little bit higher, then our cost is a little lower on our end. And so I'll make sure that number is reflecting the accurate, most recent numbers once we get those. Animal control, it's pretty much stayed the same as far as overtime, wages.
Hold on a second. Animal control is on page 32.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, for that, I'll just go ahead before I go to animal control. If you have any questions on the 107 general police budget, I'll stand for any questions you may have.
So was SCRTA under the other contractual services?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
It just doesn't say it on. But doesn't matter.
It's in the notes where it references the SCRTA on GM line.
You'll be discussing later on our law enforcement retention fund and other ways that we've paid our officers in the past. Isn't some of that funding cut down, or are we going to lose some of that funding?
Yes, Mayor, we will lose it. They did not, they didn't pass any kind of legislation or anything like that would continue that funding for us.
Okay.
How much was it?
Well, it was, I believe overall it was about 200 and some thousand to 220,000 over 3 years is how we were supposed to spend it. And so, and there was a couple different lots that the state had given us, but they didn't renew either one of them. So,
Right. There's no special funding this year?
no, sir.
Is that going to present any problems for you?
I'm sure it will with agencies like Cruises offering $30,000 sign-up bonuses and whatnot. So, yeah, I imagine
true.
so.
Yep. Any other questions? No, please questions? Okay. Are you going to do animal control?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Animal control. Animal control is a 1008 budget.
Page 32.
There really isn't any changes on this. We've had some issues trying to hire Our animal control officer just doesn't seem to be very much interested in it. I don't know, I thought that the wage was a decent wage. But we just have the one animal control, and then we have the code enforcement officer that's been filling in, and then, as an alternate, I have our evidence text, and she was certified as an animal control. She's an alternate, and then she works, weekends that I've opened up in specifically to Elephant Butte and, Williamsburg to meet our contractual obligation in those areas to come in for 4 hours on the weekends. That is only available now because we have the money in the overtime that's available. We'll probably look at something like that if we can't fill that position, just to continue that going. That way we have that coverage on the weekends in those areas.
If we entered into a further MOU with Elephant Butte, could we increase the wages to some degree? Or what would you suggest? Is that the problem, is that we don't pay enough, or what do you think the problem is for filling those positions?
Well, we've had a couple people that were interested. One of them didn't know that there was so much, it was as active as it was, and they'd have to be out in the field and lift things occasionally. And so, they weren't interested in that. And then the other one, just wouldn't meet the drug test requirement. So, outside of that, it's gotta be the pay, in my opinion.
Which is 18 or 19 bucks an hour?
I believe it's 17. How much? 1709 is a starting pay.
Okay. We still have an MOU with Elephant Butte, don't we?
Yes, sir. There's an MOU with Elephant Butte and with Williamsburg that's in place.
Okay. Does that allow you to raise the wages at all?
Well, I mean, it does bring in an income source. They pay monthly for the services. So we wanted to.
But that's within our salary plan, right?
That's correct.
We can't really do anything about it, can we?
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, yeah, it would be, we did the study priced them out based on market and those kind of things. So again, we feel like the starting wage is in the game now. If we hired somebody that, had experience or had some things, we could move them up the ladder. The chief and human resources can work together to come up with a structure within that range that would work. So, they have the flexibility. I think it's as much about getting the candidate that,
right,
as well. So.
Okay.
Again, there's another change. I believe we added a per diem and mileage reimbursement for this. Our animal control vehicles are 2016 Chevy 2500s, and they get about probably 10 to 12 miles per gallon. So if we were to send them to any kind of training in Albuquerque or Santa Fe Cruces that was available, that they're not the best traveling vehicles. And so sometimes the guys have taken their personal vehicles. And so this is really for mileage reimbursement, kind of for per diem, this addition to it. I believe it's $250 was added to the budget to cover any kind of expense that might come up, and then $500 per diem for animal control. Our policy does have does give $600 for uniform allowance. They are supposed to be kept neat and tidy, and they do have random inspections since they fall under the police department, and so they do get clothing allowance annually. And so there was a slight increase in that just to stay consistent with that $600 number. That's been in place for a little while. And then I believe the training has stayed consistent. There's only so much training out there. The majority of that is online for the ACO. So there's a couple of those trainings that our animal control is going through, and our code enforcement officer has been through. And so any kind of trainings that we find for them to help them better their career, we'll send them to it. But we didn't ask for any increase for that. Fuel costs have stayed the same.
That's based on 3 employees?
Yes, sir.
That's why we're only at $2,500 right now?
Yes.
All they have.
Printing and publishing, they do, order door hangers and such whenever they, need to make contact with an owner of either a property or an animal, and so that's for that. Again, they also are part of, associations that deal with their respective fields, for subscription and dues. Our telephone costs, I believe they stay pretty consistent. Last year we budgeted for 1,900 and, I believe we're already at 1,850, so we'll be a little over on that when it comes to it. So we raised it up to 2,000 to cover that. And then the software license for them, they use, iWorks. So that's our portion of iWorks is at the 3,500, or I'm sorry, the 3,250. Then office supplies stay the same. Supplies, generally, field supplies, we get either chip readers or we can get, try to find new technologies. I know we tried a net, for catching these animals in the past, and so we just kind of try to stay consistent and replace any kind of equipment, snake grabbers, cat grabbers. They're just the newest, most humane ways to try to capture these animals. Safety equipment stay the same. With this, we buy them their safety boots, nitrile gloves. They use welding gloves for some of these feral cats, and then they do wear a ballistic vest when they're out there. And so that's a replacement on those if we need to. Again, we kept a slight amount for vehicle maintenance on those, just anything outside the scope of what the service center does. We're looking at doing some backup cameras for them this year. I know they have some difficulty backing up into tight areas sometimes for that box. It blocks quite a bit of it, so we're hoping to get that done for them. That's all I have for the animal control budget. If you have any questions, I stand for those this time.
Comments?
Corrections, in the past, we used to have a.
Hold on, that's on page 69.
So corrections, the state has eliminated any kind of fines through the courts, and so those have been eliminated. And so the only thing we have an obligation to is the care of prisoners and medical services that we have through SBH, and those medical services are med clearances so that they can be incarcerated and or any kind of injuries that they may sustain during the taking them into custody period. And so we have had some discrepancies with the billing at the hospital. We've worked with them here recently. They've done, we've had a pretty good relationship to try to get the numbers there for a little bit. If they had any kind of pre-existing condition, we were being billed for that. And so we've really fought for just paying for what really we should, which is the med clearance to be released to jail and or any kind of injury, which those are far and few between. But yeah, just eliminating the chronic issues that they were having that they were trying to make us pay for, basically. And so there was no increase in the budget. We seen that it looks like we will be able to work within what was allocated for us last year, and so we decided to keep it the same. And then in the event that anything were to happen, then we'd ask for a budget transfer down the road if those fees were to change. The jail fees have been pretty consistent. I think it's like $100 a day for the prisoner.
We still transport to Deming?
We don't, but the county does, yes, sir, the jail.
We pay for, do we pay for that service?
It's part of it, yes, sir. I'll stand for any questions that you may have for the corrections.
Go to Law Enforcement Protection Fund.
So Law Enforcement Protection
Hold
Fund,
on, Chief.
I'm sorry.
Page 75 of the packet,
What was that?
75.
So law enforcement protection funds, they're basically a state law, as long as the agency meets the certain requirements set forth by the state. We're allowed to put in for it. You get a certain fixed amount, which is 95,000 as a base amount, and then you get 1,500 per officer. And so those funds are supposed to be set aside for training, equipment. We can't buy firearms with them, and there's certain stipulations for that you can't use it for, but for what we have here, it meets all of those regulations. And so now the only thing that we're doing different here is we're adding a per diem. In the past, we just kind of had a generalized line item for training and it would cover per diem, but just to have a clear picture and to help for budget, for audit purposes, we now have the line item for per diem added to that. The training, as you noticed from last year, it's gone, we're asking for it to be 10,000, which is less than it was the year before. We have a cadre of instructors in-house now, and so the majority of the mandatory training that is required can either be done in-house or can be done online through Lexipol and our partnership with them and the municipal league. And so that's all taken care of. And so this would really be focused on specialty training that we may find a need for within the department and for our community. Uniform and equipment, again, policy with our random inspections, and they're supposed to have a certain standard. They get $600 per officer for uniforms and equipment. That way they're looking their best when they're dealing with the public. I believe that stayed the same from last year's. Field supplies, we just have the line items, non-capital items, everything stayed the same there. One of the areas that it does allow you to purchase is for ammunition, so we have some money set aside for ammunition. Non-capital items, we have safety equipment, which could be anything from flashlights to boots to ballistic vests if we need to. Those are extremely expensive, and so thankfully we have the GRT to help us with that, and the same line item, the safety equipment. Vehicle maintenance, we have $2,000 set aside for printers and scanners for the TRAX equipment. That's the electronic citation software that we use. That money actually only purchased two. I got a quote there, $1,000 for a whole set for that, and so that's just for two. And then part of LEPF, we'd like to purchase this year a patrol vehicle and upfit with our LEPF funds. And I believe that's all of LEPF. I'll send for any questions you may have with that.
Questions, comments? That's good.
RT's on 106.
Oh, I know what it is. Mary Jo's not here.
So for the PDGRT, I believe it may be some changes to the operating costs. I believe we were paying something off. Either the building was going to be paid off, and so this, we wouldn't need that 13,000, I believe, for operating costs.
That was for the loan.
for the loan of the building. So that should be done. And so that money won't be reflected. It'll just move wherever else we need it. But again, this is where I plan on making a little bit of changes. So, under, I believe, safety equipment, have it set for $25,000. This is where I'd like to buy those 2 speed trailers. I bought some with a grant before I left Deming, and we would utilize them for everything, for graduation, for the duck races, for anything. And so, in addition to our speed complaints that we'd get, and then we'd be able to print out these reports and give the actual data into those areas. Not only could we get the traffic density, but also the speeds and times of speeds and how excessive they were and whatnot. I know we're not trying to get LPRs, but they also have the LPR capabilities as well too. If we wanted to go like electronic citations down the road or whatever the case may be. So just something to think about, but I would like to address those speeding issues by having these mobile trailers. We had partnered up with the streets and had used some of their speed signs like what you see around the school. But as you can imagine, they're moving those around throughout the cities a little bit cumbersome. And so I think these will address the issue a little better and just be quicker to respond to these areas that are problematic.
Do these trailers, can they specifically identify a vehicle or just generally?
They take pictures of it.
So they have license plates and everything.
Well, they have the capability of scanning the license plate, but when the speeder comes across, they have a camera. And so they could take a picture of the vehicle. And so we could either identify the vehicle, or we could, if we have the license plate readers, we can have that specific to that driver and get it that way. But I know in the past, I'd heard that there was some issues with the license plate readers and the community maybe not being as open to that. So whatever the case may be on that, I'm willing to go either way with that. It's a good tool for us.
Yes, when you're looking into those trailers, could you get the prices for that it is already equipped and upgraded? So that we have both prices.
Oh, yes, sir.
Well, like I said, with everything goes up every year. So when we can get it already upgraded, even that we just partially utilize it,
yes, sir.
It would be beneficial. But when they say, "Oh, you want to upgrade it," it is just $25,000. You know, when we can have it upgraded and use system already.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll get that done.
And it's a small town, and I'm sure there's a few speeders that are causing a lot of the problem. Just being able to shut a couple of folks down would probably make a big difference.
Yes, sir. That's the general consensus, is that it is just 1 or 2 violators, but just frequently and
Yes.
just random times now. And so we could get that down and have directed patrols in those areas during those times. That way, address the issue that hopefully it'll deter from doing in the future. This other line item, professional services. What I needed to do is I needed to partner up with either Advanced Communications or Code 3. We've had some communication issues with our tower. There was a chief, I believe it was either Elitas or I forget who they said it was, but they moved our communication tower for the PD up to where the Loves is, that water tank up there. Well, there's no power up there, and so there's direct power. So if that power goes down, there's batteries that keep it going for like 40 minutes and then it cuts off. And so we have zero communications after that. I guess where they were before, they had a backup power. So there was a generator or something like that you could utilize and not lose communications. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to try to relocate it to that area and then maybe get a repeater up in that water tank. That way we still have good open communication throughout the city, because right now there's some dead spots on Broadway by Outer Edge, and then over by the Rodeo Arena area, there's some dead spots. And so having those communications would be nice for officer safety reasons.
Okay.
And then I wanted to also utilize, so we're going to put some money away towards the building, just in case we have any kind of additional expenses or something comes up that during the construction, so we don't have to ask for any money on that. So we're going to put some money towards the building on this. And then I wanted to utilize 80,000 for another unit. So we would have a purchase of 2 units with this budget here. The manager had brought up that we were also gonna do, we're gonna lease some units, but even if we lease them, the payment wouldn't be due until the following year, and so we would still be within our budget. That would pick up from the GRT side. And then, with that, I'll ask, Stan for any questions you may have.
Comments, questions? I think we asked them along the way, so we're good.
Okay.
Donations, page 1 away.
Donations, we have some money in there. We're fundraising for Shop with the Cop and for the DARE program. The DARE program, unfortunately, we won't be able to start until August of this next school year. But we will be getting it, and we have the books already, so and we have enough money to get it going for the next school year. But the Shop with the Cop, we will have to be doing some fundraising, and we will be working on that. Currently, we're working on a raffle with a guitar that David Johnson had donated for us. So we'll be doing that, trying to get some money for that. But great program. The kids respond really well to it. Gives them an opportunity to hang out with us and hopefully change any kind of preconceived opinions they may have had of us. With that, I'll send for any questions on the donation side.
Good, Chief. And then DOT, page 1 away.
To the grants. So this, let's see, this. We have two different ones. I don't know if you're looking at the 380, the expense that we received from the congressional funding, or are you looking at the 299? I don't have it in front of me, Bill. I think it's just. So this is just the revenue that we get from the grants, the state grants, the traffic safety grants that I was talking about earlier. And then we also got, in addition to that, the state rolled out with what they call the SCIP grant. It was supposed to be for critical response for officers. And so they had allocated some overtime monies to us, some overtime money, and some training money as well. And so the problem is the first go round is that they wanted us to focus it on ERPO, the emergency protection order, the red flag laws, and then the red flag gun orders. And there's not a whole lot of training and literature in the state for that, believe it or not. And so we've had an issue with being able to find providers to send our officers to any kind of specialized training with that. And so we still have some of that money allocated. I know that they were supposed to come back to us and allow us to utilize some of that for some crisis intervention for mental health crisis. And that's what we originally thought that was be for. And so they're supposed to change that some. At this point, we utilize it for overtime. Passing out flyers and educating people on red flag laws, and so that grant, that money's still there. That's all reimbursement stuff, and as you can see, we haven't utilized that yet. So we're kind of catching into that. Stand for any questions you may have on that.
Good, Chief. You getting through all that?
Yes, sir. Okay, time.
So you're a little bit ahead of time. I don't know if anybody needs a break.
Okay. Break, let's break and we'll start at 2:45, right on time. We're adjourned for.
We'll start with.